Saludos and salutations, Broncos country, and welcome back into another exciting episode of Broncos Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, the season has finally gotten underway. Game one, whatever you want to put it or say it, is in the books. We have all the inside details of everything that happened. Bronco Libre, yes, my co-host, the Bronco Libre, was at the game along with our boss, Johnny Baki, and I cannot wait to have him tell you guys exactly how it went down, what the feeling, the energy was at Mile High Empower Field. I know a lot of people have different names for the stadium, but whatever it is you want to call it, it is definitely home. So the good, the bad, and the Baki will definitely be talked about in today's show. Plus, we have the picks that we made from last week and also the new picks in the overtime segment of today's show. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure your food is warm, your beer is cold, because you will not want to miss a single episode of today's show. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let it be known, just let it be known that we're going to try a new intro this time, okay? I know I always say, here we go. That's totally fine. But we're also going to rip a page from the great Jimmy Johnson, because the documentary came out a little while ago. So, ladies and gentlemen, how about them Broncos?
Broncos talk, let's rock, feel the energy rise. From the microphone to the fans reaching the skies. Every episode a thrill, a surprise. For the love of the game, we harmonize.
And welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adan Diaz, and joining me to my left or right, depending on which direction you're watching, is my co-host, the one, the man, the living legend, El Terrible Bronco Libre.
What's happening? Let's go. What a week one. We come out with the dub. That's what we do. So excited for this episode here today. And here soon, we're gonna introduce you to a special guest that was there with me on location at Mile High. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I forgot to log on to TikTok like I always do.
I know you did. I stopped inviting you already.
I swear it's not that I forget, it's that I don't remember, if that makes any sense. So I will definitely get on it as soon as I remember how to work my phone, because it's not letting me do it. Technology is weird, Libre. You ever notice that?
That's only when you're a viejito and you don't know how to work it. That's when it's strange and weird. And I'm older, and I think I know how to work it better.
I don't think I do.
So just while you get that on, I have a couple of people just asking me some questions here on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go in here. Let's see. We did bad. I think the Colts are gonna beat us. Honestly, let's talk about it. The offense started off slow. I actually did just send this thing over to Adan here earlier. The offense started slow, but let me tell you, the defense started off super strong, and that's what we're going to do. And remember, defense wins championships, and that is what's going to take us deep into the playoffs. We started to get slow. Yes, I agree with you. Bo Nix struggled a little bit, but through the progression of the game, the team got better and better. And also our offensive line, yes, they had a little struggle there at the beginning, but let me tell you, they got out there. And if you go back and look at RJ Harvey's run and looking at the blocks that were out there, they were spectacular. Let me who was it that sent I think it was Bollinger, right? that did the breakdown of some of the runs and whatnot. And
Mhm.
he broke it down so well. And then the blocking, the double teaming that the Broncos offensive line did. And then especially with Quinn Miners going in there, going through a double team, and then going to a actual let me put this down real quick. Going actually to going to the second level, going to the linebackers to create that hole. And you just see RJ Harvey just going right through right behind the blockers and finding that lane. And that's where he was able to bust out for that 50-yarder. So that excitement alone, when I saw that, I was so excited. I saw that just the offensive play itself, and then being able to watch them actually pull as well. You have to remember, this is a new offense for everyone as well involved. It's not the same offense that we ran last year. So yes, it is going to take a little bit of time. It's going to be there. Trust the process. And I'm going to say that again. Trust the process, because it's going to be there and we're going to be okay.
Thank you for that, Libre. I do appreciate it. I know it's not how we normally do things at the start of the show, but again, do apologize. That's on me. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your first time here. Welcome. If not, welcome back. We have a couple of things we have to get out of the way, as we do always before we before we bring our special guest on. First of all, we'd like to ask you to please show your support for us here on the Orange and Blue Network. Subscribe, share, comment, and like on this and all the shows here that we have available for you on the network. There's something for everybody. Even if you're caught up with all the shenanigans that Libre and I bring to you on a weekly basis, there's always something for you to sink your teeth into in the Orange and Blue. Also, for any audio listeners, no matter what platform you're listening to, if you would like to give us a 5-star review, are very much appreciated. You can snapshot a picture of it, screenshot it, and send it to our socials, and we will happily give you a shout out here live on the air. Our Twitter handles are right there at the bottom. Mine is at a 6'10" Mexican. Bronco Libre is at Bronco Libre 5280. Shout out to the sponsor of today's show, which is Dubby. Ladies and gentlemen, Dubby is for you. It is all the good stuff without all the bad. Basically, it's no sugar, no calories, no maltodextrin, no fillers, no artificial colors. It's formulated with nothing but amino acids, B vitamins, and nootropics, including the patented neurofactor nootropic, and the caffeine is derived directly from the coffee fruit. And to show you guys how awesome they are, Dubby would like to hook you up with 10% off your order at checkout when you use the code OBN10 at checkout. Again, that code is OBN10 to get your 10% off your favorite Dubby flavors at checkout. Shout out to Dubby for being a continued sponsor for us here and all the shows here on the Orange and Blue Network, and also to the Nothing Rhymes with guys for hooking you, me, and Libre up with 10% off. For any business inquiries, you can email at broncostalk2020@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard so already, the schedule is out. The following times for all the shows here on a weekly basis are in Mountain Time, mind you. We have the Orange and Blue Blitz, which airs every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. We have the Do You Broncos, Bruh, every Monday at 7 p.m. The flagship show, Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue, Tuesdays at 6. We have the Mile High Symposium, which airs just before we do at 2:30 p.m. Our show, of course, every Wednesday at 6. Viva Los Broncos will be making a comeback, and I do apologize. The last two cancellations were my fault. But it will be back on the air Friday at 6 p.m. For any breaking Broncos news, we have the Fresh Squeeze that goes live as soon as the news breaks and hits the airwaves. And just before every single game day, 1 hour before kickoff, we have the Get Buck pregame show with all of your favorite cast of characters that will come on and break down all the information that we have going into the upcoming matchup. And then, of course, after every single game, we have the Buck Your Feelings postgame show where Johnny lets us swear just once, maybe twice a show.
Maybe once, maybe twice, 3 times if we're lucky.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, Libre and I would be happy to introduce our special guest that will be joining us talking Broncos with you. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Bronco Tiz.
Hey, guys. How's it going, man?
What's a happening, Bronco Tiz?
What's up, man? Go Broncos.
Let's go.
Yes, sir. Hey, Bronco Tiz, the other window, is that you or did you freeze out?
I think I froze out on one.
Okay. Actually, no, I'm just going to leave it there because I don't want to kick you out. So, But anyways, welcome to the show, Bronco Tiz. And kind of what we talked about a little bit backstage before the start of the show was, could you and Libre describe to us that weren't there at the game what the feeling, what the energy was like for the season opener for the Broncos?
Honestly, there was a ton of excitement yesterday or on Sunday. Are you guys hearing me twice?
No, I hear you fine.
We hear you just the once.
Okay. Yeah, there was a ton of excitement in the crowd. A lot of people were excited for the season. Probably one of the most exciting season openers in a while, in about 9-10 years. We're actually going in as one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. People are out there having a great time. People are out there tailgating, getting some drinks, getting some good food, and just everybody's just out having a great time. Libre did a hell of a tailgate party.
Well, I can only do it with the support of my other friends that I have out there, and Bronco Tiz is one of them. I can only do so much. Yes, I might be like the face of it, but you know how they say you have to have a village behind you as well to get that set up. And Tiz is one of those factors that helps out as well. Again, thank you so much. I sent the guys how much I appreciate them and so forth. And again, I couldn't do this all by myself. We had so many people that were out there. We got so many like social media coverage. We got a spot on local CBS sport. CBS itself came out. We had Telemundo out for the because I hosted the Mexico fan club that came up from Mexico for this game. So I just can't do everything by myself. I had a lot of support and whatnot. And Tiz is one of those factors that he's my ride or die with my Broncos, So when we're out there, I can count on him for about anything. So thank you, Tiz.
Anytime, man.
But no, like going overall, like everything did start off like because I hosted a fan meetup the Saturday before, just kicking it off. And because it was the first time I've ever done that itself, not knowing the actual experience that we were going to actually have, or I didn't know the expectations. I didn't really have a true number of how many people were going to show up. And the people that actually came out and showed up totally surprised me. So I want to thank everyone that showed up to the fan meetup, because you guys made it a success. This is something that I'm going to try to do every year before the kickoff to the season. So right before game one, I want to go out there and just have a good fan meetup. If the game is home or away, it doesn't matter. I want to continue doing that because I feel like just getting everyone together, getting everybody hyped up before the game is so exciting. And it was fun to see Broncos country showing up, repping it and everything. And that just made my heart full. And I feel like because of where we were able to do that, I want to give a huge shout out to Flightco Tower here in Denver, that they hosted the location. They provided us with 2 kegs of beer to the tailgate itself. So from me to you guys, thank you so much, especially Chris. Chris, you did awesome. Thank you for coming through. And trust me, we'll be using you for more in the event. And I'm going to try to get definitely watch party there. And I want to make sure that it's a huge watch party so that we can get it, you guys packed out and celebrating the Broncos.
Well, that sounded like an amazing time, and I really wish one of these days I will go to a season opener once I can afford it.
You better start saving now for next year.
Yeah, basically, right?
Save now.
Gentlemen, it is time to talk Broncos football. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to start off with what I saw from the comfort of my house. And I got to tell you guys, I hate to say it, but I may have been right when I said that what we saw during the preseason out of the starters kind of carried over into what we saw. And to make it even worse, it kind of felt like we were still watching Bo Nix from literally a year ago. Like the nerves were still there. We didn't see the comfortable puck. He had a much better preseason last year than he did this time around. So I was really hoping that, it was just him kind of working out some kinks. But, gentlemen, it did worry me. I will not lie to you, because we were all expecting the Broncos to blow out the Titans, And if it wasn't for the fact that they have a pretty good kicker in Joey Sly, they probably wouldn't have gotten as many points as they did. Let's be honest. But again, going back to what I reiterated, and I'm still going to say it, because going into week 1, season 2, it just makes things worse for us, because now all of a sudden the whole thing about sophomore slump rears in its ugly head. It's all I've been hearing from people the last 3 days. Okay. And it's going to get harder to defend Bo Nix's gameplay if this is the type of thing that he keeps putting out there on the field. Those 2 interceptions, the second one, what I feel was more on him. That was completely unacceptable. The first one, you can make a case about it that Cortland Sutton should have definitely fought for that ball, and if he couldn't get it, at least try to knock it out of the defender's hands, as we saw. But the one thing that keeps getting me, and this isn't just Bo Nix, gentlemen, it's what a lot of players do. They keep trying to do these like Madden type of throws where they jump up in the air, or they try to do something that Mahomes would do, throwing the ball as they're falling down, or doing a cartwheel or some crazy shtick like that. And that to me is really not what, when I think of Bo Nix, is. And to me, it kind of makes me scared and afraid, because I feel like if he does these type of things like he did in that one interception, it kind of throws away his ability for the accuracy, for the power of the ball, for the direction it's supposed to go, and it puts the ball in danger. So passing it on to you guys, what do you guys think about that?
Go ahead, Tiz. I want to hear you first.
I think there was a little bit of nerves in that game. I think there's a little bit of getting used to the new cast. You got to realize we got 2 new running backs there. We lost our main pass protector at running back, and Javonte Williams replaced him with J.K. Dobbins. We have a new tight end one, but other than that, the rest of the team was pretty much the same team. But I think just week 1, there's a little bit of nerves. There's a little bit of stuff to work through. We did have 4 turnovers in that game, which absolutely killed us. But honestly, I think it's going to get better as we go along. You've seen him progress after week 1 and week 2 were tougher. Well, he started to improve after that. We're hoping that he improves after that right now. Defense played awesome. I'm going to say that defense had 6 sacks by 6 different players. That not only goes to show you the talent on the defense, but also the ability of Vance Joseph to put them in a place to make plays. Great job by the defense. 4 turnovers. They kept putting the defense in bad positions. Defense kept coming up strong and just giving us a chance.
I agree with you, Tiz, 100% with the offense itself. And like I mentioned earlier as well, is that we did start off slow. It did carry over, just like how the chats come up. But you know what? Like I said earlier with the comment with my TikTok person that was commenting, it's still something that we are going to progress. This is a new offense, a new scheme that everyone's running as well. So they're still getting used to it. But trust the process. Like I said, we're going to be there. We're going to be just fine. Just like how Tia said, this defense, when Vance Joseph and all that, and I've said this before already, I feel like this defense is better than the 2015 defense itself. So I'm super excited for that part itself. And we've already shown and proven it right now. Like Tia said, we had 6 sacks in that game. How can you not be happy with the way that this defense played? Like, especially there late in the game when Marvin Mims fumbled the punt, and they were in prime position to get some points. And then 3 consecutive plays, 2 sacks, and just getting them back further and further behind where you took them out of field goal range. So that part I'm not worried about. The offense, I'm just glad that we are playing another, not so strong team this upcoming week with the Colts, even though they had numbers. They put up numbers and whatnot, but they were also playing against Miami. And we all know, and we've talked about that as well, Miami's not that good of a team. Now wait until you see Danny Dimes play against this Broncos defense. It's going to be a completely different story. If we didn't have the defense we did, I'd be a little bit more concerned. But this is just, I feel like this game is going to be almost similar to this one itself. Maybe the offense is not rolling as much. Hopefully they do. But this is going to be another warm-up game. But our true test is going to be week 3. So overall, love the defense. The offense itself, I feel like it's a work in progress, and you see it already. So I'm super excited for that part.
I got to tell you guys, I don't know what Sean Payton was thinking getting away from the running game. Libre and I literally said this last week, that making Bo Nix throw the ball more times than he's comfortable with was a good way to put the ball in danger. And in that first half, we hardly saw runs from J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. And I started to wonder, like, did these guys get hurt? Why are they not running the ball? Yes, the Titans have a pretty good defensive front in Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah, Jeffrey Simmons, yeah.
Yeah, so they have a good DT tackle, but that's what the running back's job is. The running back wears those guys out, so that way the pass rush gets weaker and weaker as the drive goes along, even if they do get stops. You know what I'm saying? And in that one drive, it's like Sean Payton heard every single person yelling from their couch or their bar stool. And in that one drive where they actually ran the ball, they caught the Titans sleeping. And that's exactly what we need to go happening. And that's exactly what we need to see also from Bo Nix. If he sees that the defense is stacking the box, throw the ball. If he sees that the defense is spreading out, call an audible, run the ball. You know what I'm saying? So going forward, these are the types of things that Bo Nix in his second year has to learn how to do and call audibles and change it, not always rely on the call from the coach and expect it to always work out.
So during the game, while we were watching the game, and Isaiah brought this up during the post game, and this is one part that I did was able to hear during the post game show, is that while we were in there, my buddy Jose, who's a season ticket holder right next to me, said, "Why are we not going more plays under center?" Like, that was another thing as a frustration as well. We need to go, in order for this run game, if we want this run game to be a good partial key so that we can get those play actions to work properly for us, you have to do get Bo under the center more so that it's going to be more reliable, so that teams have to, like, question, what are you really doing? Are you passing or are you going to run it? Like, you know, I feel like that is the thing that they need to work on this upcoming week, because that Charger defense, if you go look at them, they're pretty good. So we're going to need to be able to at least say, hey, try to stop the run first. And if we can get that play action in there, like, we're going to hurt you guys big time.
Bronco Tiz, before you give your opinion, I just want Libre to answer this question. He says, "What's up, guys? Got to spend the most epic weekend with Libre. Salude."
What's happening, Mr. Bucky? You know what? This weekend was such a great weekend. Like, the atmosphere, the tailgating. Let me tell you, like, if you want to go down and tell us about everything about one weekend itself, yes, the Broncos come home with the dub. But it all started right there in the parking lot. It was an epic parking lot. The food was on point. My buddy Jose and Rico, who were on the grill cooking the food for everybody. Like, I cannot, like I said, it takes my village itself to help put that tailgate together, because I can't do it alone. And my heart with Johnny and his wife there to be able to witness and see what we were able to put on. We had Cody Latimer. He showed up. Thank you so much, Cody, for popping in with your wife, especially on your wife's birthday. You know, so what was so nice is that we had actually other birthdays that were there too. So we actually sang happy birthday to everyone that was there. But yeah, Johnny Baki, it was great meeting you. Can't wait to do it again here pretty soon against the Giants when you come back into town. It's just going to be awesome. Like, yes, like, I feel like we need to get the network. Everyone needs to come in for one tailgate so everyone can experience this, because if you ask Johnny, he's going to say it was one hell of a tailgate.
Well, just for the record, next time I see Johnny, I'm spending the entire time with Copper. Johnny can do whatever he wants, but Copper's the real star of the show, and Johnny knows it.
Hey, man, if you guys want to do a tailgate for the network and fight some of the viewers, maybe you could come down, Miss Adam. Come check it out. Come see how we do it in Lot C10. We'll be happy to do it again.
Oh yeah.
Definitely Bronco Tiz. But to go back to your point, please continue, Bronco Tiz.
Now
Me?
you're
Sure.
talking about the game itself. And,
The game itself,
yeah.
what you saw from your perspective.
Okay, you want me to just keep going?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was some stuff that's a little bit concerning. The one thing I still don't understand, like, at the end of the game, I know we pretty much had the game won, but what was the deal with going on 4th and 8 at the end? You kick a 54-yard field goal, which left us in plenty of time, and seal the game, or you just have the punter Crawford, I believe, pin him deep. He's been doing that all preseason. He's been a great job at pinning people deep, and just make it that much tougher. But thankfully, our defense came through. They had a couple drops at the end there to make sure they couldn't get in a position to have a shot.
You know what? I've been asked about that play too. I had 3 different people ask me about it. And to me, that was Sean Payton's kind of way of telling his opponent, hey, I can easily give you the ball, but I'm that confident that you're not going to score on our defense, that even if the ball is incomplete, you'll get to take control of the ball from where the Broncos were instead of pinning them back, and you still wouldn't be able to score. So that to me was like that meme of, what's his name? Stan's dad, when he had his I don't know if we can curse on the air, but his testicles on the wheelbarrow, and just that's what that was. That's exactly what that was. And Sean Payton was so confident that Cam Ward was not going to be able to score. And to me, that's really gutsy. And it's one of those plays where it's like, it's not conservative, like you said, Bronco Tiz. It was very, very risky, and it was a hell of a gamble, because if Cam Ward would have been pulled it off, or if Calvin Ridley would have not had CeeDee Lamb hands, we would probably be talking a whole different result right now. So, in one way, it's commendable. In another one, it's kind of like, okay, maybe you don't want to do that every single game.
I just shout out to D-Rock here right away. Just like what he says, rumor has it that Sean Payton told Bull that in order to win the AFC West, he has to throw the ball. And that could be part of what you were saying too, Adan, that it's just like a statement. It's like, try to beat us. Our defense is better than your offense right now. Try to do that. And it could be where that could have been a scenario where Sean Payton did go say, hey, Bo, if this is your team, put them on your shoulder and go win this game. Like, show us that we're going to go out there and we're going to be able to do whatever we want to do. Because what if he made that? What if he caught it? Now we're first down, and now it's just kneeling down or whatever the case may be. But I feel that that's part of it as well. It's like you still have the 2 aspects of it. Like, yes, why did he do it? But what if he went and they completed it and got the first down? Like, now you're saying
if he catches that, it's a touchdown.
Exactly. And then at that point, you're saying that Sean Payton's a genius for throwing that, So, and we're just now here talking about it. It's like, why did you do that? It's 4th and 8. We turned it over on downs. But we could be talking the opposite way right now as well. So it's still, I'm okay with that play itself. Yes, it failed. We could have kicked that field goal just to get 3 points. Almost guaranteed 3 points for it. But I'm okay with what happened as well, because like you said, try to beat our defense. Try to score on our team right now, because you're not going to be able to do it. You haven't done it all game. You've just gotten to a point where you got to field goals.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. But I will say that even though our offense sputtered in the first half, and even with the 2 mistakes that Bo made in interceptions, what we saw in the second half is definitely looking promising going into this week's game. Libre did mention that the Colts. Let's make no ifs, ands, or buts. Nobody, not Libre, not myself, not the chat, picked the Colts to win that game. And the fact that they won it by that margin shows you just how high their heads are going to be going into this game, because they are under the impression that they can do the exact same thing to the Broncos. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, what we saw from the Colts in Miami is not the same thing we are going to see this week between the Colts and the Broncos. Now, mind you, I do think that we'll probably get a Peyton Manning sighting. I really do hope so, because I'm going to be at that game, and I would love nothing more than to be in the building with the sheriff, even though I won't get to meet him, but just knowing the fact that he's there and wearing his orange and blue and rooting for our team and watching our team go in there and go 2-0 against the Colts is definitely something that's going to really, really make my day.
So talking about that itself, we already know that the sheriff's going to be there. We already know that, but he's going to be in blue. It's going to be all blue. So it's not so that he's going for one team or the other, but everyone already knows that he's rooting for the Broncos because he's always here in town. He still lives here in town. So we already know that that's how it's up. He's only going to be showing up there, showing face, because the Ursay is going to be bringing him in to say, hey, come back home. We're playing against your old former team as well, so let's do that. But it's okay because he's done it before in the past. But he'll be in a blue suit just for that itself.
Bronco Tiz, anything you want to add?
Anything we all know Peyton's Broncos thing first. In the 4 years he was here, it almost felt like he did a whole lot more than he did in the 12 years in Indianapolis. He had the most historical season of all time here in 2013, 55 touchdowns, 5,400 yards. And he's seen what the love is for the Broncos is in Denver. I just think he's at heart a Broncos fan. He's got to, like you say, he's got to show that he still loves the coach just for the image. But I think he's at heart a Bronco fan.
Guaranteed, 100% he is.
D-Rock has a question for us. He says, how was the punter? Because he pretty much, unfortunately, missed the entire game. To bring up special teams, fellas, it was not a good day for special teams. They gave up that big run, getting close to the half, putting the Titans in field goal range, and then the muff punt by Marvin Mims definitely did not help. And the fact that our defense literally had to bend, but they didn't break, and held the opposing offense to 3 points in each one of those instances leaves a lot to be desired in terms of special teams. Whatever they're doing isn't working, and it needs to get better, because those are crucial mistakes that you can probably get away with week one, but you cannot have those mistakes happen in a playoff game, because a playoff game, every single mistake that you make gets amplified times 2 or 3, because the opposing team, it's the best of the best, and they will definitely make you pay for making mistakes like that, and vice versa when it's the Broncos picking up on those mistakes.
Agreed. I totally agree. So do we want to talk about the breaking news that happened yesterday?
Sure. Go for it, Libre.
So, as you probably are not aware, just kidding, everyone knows, that the Broncos announced that they have a favorite spot of a new stadium being built. Part of it, for me, I like the idea that, yes, we're getting a new stadium. I like the fact that it's going to be privately funded. In a way, I like that part itself. Just knowing that the taxpayers are not going to have to being paid there in the city and county of Denver. The only thing that I have maybe concerns about is the Broncos are actually going to give it to the season ticket holders and have them basically pay for it as well. Talking about PSLs. I just hope that the Broncos do not go that route, even though I do know that 21 of the 32 teams currently do have PSLs. So I'm hoping that they decide not to do that, as like how they said that they wanted to keep the stadium in Denver. That was a priority. And they picked the location. They're in Barnum Yard itself, the old railroad between 8th Avenue and 13th Avenue off of I-25. So if they can not give us that PSL, I'm all about it. The only thing that is also on there, which is the retractable roof. That's one thing that when they first took over ownership, they sent out all season ticket holders what your preference was, like, and all that. If there was a new stadium, would you like it a roof, partial roof, whatever? They gave you all these different options and so forth. I know my choice was, say, no roof. I know Broncos Tiz choice was no roof because you lose the element of the weather related stuff that happens here in Denver. The magical moments that has happened here in Denver during these games here in the last, since 1960, since the team has been in, going on. So for me, that little part's just disconcerting. If they can say and guarantee and tell us and have us say, hey, let's keep the roof open for the Broncos games at all time, I'm all for it. Because we do want to attract that Super Bowl, and that's what the city and county would love to have too. And then at that point, close it up for that game itself. But if they could just say, let's leave the stadium here and have it open at the all home games, I'll be happy for that. But we already know that's not happening. I actually think I just saw a video about the Penners and Walton where they, about an hour before game time, they're out on the field looking it up and so forth, and they're talking about, are we going to close? Would this be a scenario where we close the roof or not? You know, they're talking about that already, and they're going to continue doing that for this upcoming year as well. It's like, is this a day that we're going to close it up? You know, that's already in their heads and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing for me. I'm glad that we're getting a new stadium, even though our stadium is not considered quite old, but technology wise, it is. It's an older stadium and whatnot. And I know they put in tons of money to try to get it up to par. But just knowing that we will probably have the most high-tech stadium built in the world. I'm not talking about in the NFL, but it'll be in the world. And I'm actually excited for the stadium for itself. Those are just some of the concerns I have.
Bronco Tiz, your thoughts.
My thoughts. So when he talked about the PSLs, the Broncos did send out a survey about 2 years ago. They mentioned a lot of stuff. They mentioned the roof. They mentioned different amenities to add into the stadium, but they also did mention PSLs. They talked about different ways. Hey, what if we offered a way to finance them? What if we offered lower PSLs for different seats, different amounts? But at the same time, I look at the price of the stadium and the percentage that they could possibly raise. If they're going to be lucky to raise 1%, because this is going to be a $6 billion stadium, that if they have 70,000 ticket holders, 70,000 seats that they sell, they might get $70 million if they charge $1,000 per seat. If they charge $10,000 per seat, they take off most of the fans. So it's going to be really tricky to do PSLs. But at the same time, we'll see exactly what they do when that moment comes. As far as the retractable roof, I'm going to tell you, I told last year at Libre's Tailgate, I told Damani Lee specifically, do not put a retractable roof. We do not want it. We're going to lose the C.J. Anderson touchdown. We're going to lose that element when Al Wilson stopped Tyrone Wheatley on 4th and 1. We're going to lose that Green Bay game in 8-7, that snow game. I know this wasn't in Denver, but the drive was played in conditions. Football is meant about being played in conditions. Most of the historical moments are built in some type of conditions, the best moments of the game. And I'm going to tell you, I was at the Baltimore game. I hated the outcome, that Baltimore championship game, Baltimore divisional playoff game. But I'm going to tell you, I would rather have it 13 below than 90 degrees. I'd rather have it 13 below and snow than 60 degrees. It just makes the game more fun. You as a fan got to be louder. You got to be on your feet because you're trying to stay warm. You're trying to keep the blood flowing. When the game gets hot, like I'll tell you the honest truth, when it's hot like this, I wasn't as excited because that he's just pounding on me, beating me. That coldness, the snow actually motivates me, gets me moving, gets my blood pumping, gets me wanting to move more. That's why we need to keep no dome. We need to get rid of it. I don't care about these billionaires that want to go watch a Super Bowl. We got to have no dome.
I can't really comment on this because unfortunately I don't live in Denver. But once I saw what Jerry Jones did with his stadium, it was only a matter of time before every other team in a that lives in an area that is affected by cold weather would soon follow suit. Now, Dallas themselves, they're not actually, affected by the cold per se, but just the fact that Jerry Jones has Jerry Jones type money and can do basically whatever he freaking wants, he pretty much set the precedent of where other teams are going. Now, I do live in Chicago, and the Bears are going almost exactly through what the Broncos are about to start going through. And I have met Bears fans here who are on both sides of that ball. Some of them love going and sitting through the blistering cold and watching their team play. And there are other people that don't want to sit through the blistering cold to watch the Bears play. They want to be in the comfort of if not in their home, then, not freezing their tail off, so to speak. So there's whichever side of the coin you sit on, at the end of the day, it's all to host a Super Bowl. And everybody wants to be exactly what Tampa Bay did, where they were the home team that hosts their Super Bowl in their hometown and they win it. So that also set a precedent where if they can do it, we can do it too type of thing. And I'm with you guys. In terms of if I had a choice and I was you guys, I definitely would want to go see my team. And if I have to sit through the elements, then I'm sitting through the elements.
That's part of football.
Yeah.
That's football. We have football. It's an outdoor sport, and that's what it is. Talking about there in Chicago, and I just read this article today that they're moving forward where it's just a complete dome. It's not a retractable. They're not going to do anything like that. It's a straight up dome, and that the Bears are already pushing for a Super Bowl because I think it's going to be about the same time frame when the Bronco new stadium should be available in 2031. Is that they're eyeing for a Super Bowl there in Chicago by the year 2031. So that would be what, Super Bowl 66. So that's another thing as well. It's like you're no longer by the lake, how Soldier Field is currently right now. So you're not going to have that wind effect off of the lake itself. And again, I understand. Like I don't know about the whole city of Chicago or the suburbs or whatnot, but I know it's going to be just no longer the Windy City. You guys are losing the factor of that as well.
Well, it's not even Chicago because Arlington Heights is a suburb that's from downtown Chicago, it's 35-minute drive. So it's closer to me because I live in the suburbs. So it's only a 25-minute drive from me to Arlington Heights. So it's just like Dallas. A lot of people are surprised that the Cowboys don't play in Dallas itself. They play about 20, 30 minutes-ish.
No, it's not 20, 30 minutes. They're about 45 minutes away from actual Dallas.
Wow.
Yeah,
45.
because we were there, because me and Tiz were there in Dallas for that game when the Cowboys won. When we were there, when we beat up the Cowboys at that point. But yeah, it's actually a good trek. It's not as close as you think it is. It's an actual good drive.
Yeah, well, my aunt lives in Fort Worth, and Fort Worth for Arlington Heights was only 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
And then you guys talk about Super Bowls. I do want to make one point. Let's not forget, and I was there myself. Super Bowl 48 was played in New York the day before a snowstorm in an outdoor stadium. So the NFL's done it before. They just got to get their heads out of their asses and realize it's football and do it again. Give us cities like Denver, Buffalo a chance to have a Super Bowl without having a stupid little dome.
Well, and I feel as well, and I agree with you 100%. And they did take that chance there when they did play the game there in New Jersey. They happened to get lucky where that game was playable, and I think they want to have a fair, especially when it comes down to a Super Bowl for the championship itself, that they want conditions to be somewhat perfect and so forth. And that's, I think, why they had stayed away from Denver. They stay away from Kansas City. They stay away from Buffalo because you could never really predict what the weather is. But here in Denver, But here in Denver, you have to go back and look at the history of all the Super Bowls. I think every Super Bowl going back for I don't know how many you can go back to, but we have never had that many games that would have been affected by the weather here in town. So I think you have to go with history as well. Like, it might rain, it might snow, whatever the case may be. But if you go back to the history of all the games that have been played on that day, we've had perfect weather here in Denver all the time.
It's always been 60s, 70s,
Yeah.
and sunny. Remember, we got 300 plus days of sunshine in Colorado.
Which Adan didn't know that. I had to fact check him a couple months ago because he goes, "There's no way that you guys have that many days of sun a year compared to what Chicago has."
Bronco Libre was sitting in a seat that was sunny and rainy at the exact same time.
Yeah, and that was on Sunday.
Yep.
And I told my brother, I was like, "You see, I'm like somewhere in that stadium right now. Well, not right now because you guys had to evacuate. But Bronco Libre.
No, I didn't move.
We didn't evacuate.
I didn't move out of my seat because I could see and tell.
Oh, can I tell you why there was that supposed weather delay? One reason or another, the Wyoming band didn't want to play because the delay lasted the full 12 minutes of the halftime, and then as soon as the clock ticked to 0, they said we're going to start the game. Unfortunately, there was no more time for the Wyoming band to play.
That was funny because the Wyoming Cowboys marching band was scheduled to play the halftime show, and I think what we're talking about is that the director says, "You know what, we don't want to play anymore," and so that's why they said, "We have a weather delay," and then it started raining, and they're like, "Yep, we for sure can't do it." And then as soon as, like Tiz said, the halftime was over, perfect timing. The game started on time. And then a big old announcement. What was funny, it was hilarious. Due to time constraints, the Wyoming Cowboy marching band can no longer perform, but but it was pretty funny.
Well, if it's okay with you gentlemen, I'd like to kind of steer us back towards the direction of the Colts as we're getting towards the 1 hour mark soon. So my biggest concern with Indianapolis isn't Daniel Jones or the Colts defense, because I saw a lot of flaws in their defense this past weekend, with the exception of Latu. Latu is a very good player. I'll give him credit for that. But I think the one thing that the Broncos really have to watch out for, especially if Dre Greenlaw does not get the green light to play, is Jonathan Taylor. Because we saw what happened last year and how close the Broncos came to losing that game last year. If Jonathan Taylor didn't drop that ball and get it called a touchback, then we may have ended up in a whole different end result if the Broncos would not have been able to answer back that score. So Jonathan Taylor does worry me. I know we have Hufanga back there, and I got to tell you guys, I love what I saw from that man this past weekend. That man was flying everywhere, and that hit that he landed that caused the fumble was just pure poetry at its best. So if Dre Greenlaw plays, then I'm not worried. I'm not all that worried about Jonathan Taylor, because Greenlaw is definitely going to lay down the boom as well as Hufanga. But if Greenlaw doesn't play, then the Jonathan Taylor experience kind of worries me a little bit.
You know, I'm not worried with Jonathan Taylor this year because of Hufanga. Like, he's going to be like, I was telling my son while we were at the game, I go, and this is still early on in the game, I go, oh my God, Tufanga's everywhere. He has already 5 or 6 tackles, and the game is still early. I'm like, I'm not worried about it. I'd rather have Greenlaw just sit another week, let him sit this week itself, and let's have him come back when we play the Chargers next week. Like, that's where we're going to need him, I think, most. Let him go ahead and rest. Get ready for the Chargers, because it's a divisional game, and we need him as a divisional part of the game itself, because that matters at the end of the season, especially when you're looking at wins and losses within the division first, when you talk about tiebreakers if we end up with the same record. So that's going to be a huge factor in that. But I'm not worried with Taylor this year. I understand that, yes, he might say, okay, yeah, last year I messed up and I dropped the ball right before I got into that touchdown. We could have won him the game itself, but I'm not worried about it anymore, because our defense of who we have now will stop him. He's not like, he'll still probably get a good majority of the yards of what he's going to get, but he's not going to be able to get into the end zone as easy what he was able to do last year against us, because he did hurt us last year. It's not going to be the same thing. Our defense is much better, and it's going to be a lot harder for him to run against us.
Bronco Tiz, your thoughts?
I mean, when you talk about that, our defense was kind of like on a downward turn at that time when we did play him. We played the first half of the season strong, going into that final quarter when we really need to win. We did struggle a little bit defensively towards the end there, but I think as you've seen in week 1, the defense is back, the defense is ready. So I'm not as scared about Jonathan Taylor as you would think I would be. On top of that, Danny Dimes is probably going to throw 2 picks at least. I guarantee we're going to get some turnovers. Danny Dimes is known to do it.
Yeah.
I really do hope so, because probably the biggest takeaway from last week's game is the fact that Cam Ward did not throw a single interception. He got sacked a whole bunch of times, which I was expected to happen because, he's unfortunately his offensive line didn't do him any favors when they lost their right tackle. At least I think it was their right tackle. As soon as he went down, it was a feeding frenzy for the boys. So there's going to be a lot of teams this season, gentlemen, who are really going to have to depend on their offensive linemen to keep their quarterbacks upright, because if it's not, and if it's a feasting day, and if they have to replace somebody with a backup, these Broncos do not care. Starter, backup, whoever it is, they're going to do their job, and they're going to go out there and get paid. By the way, I don't care what nobody says. Cam Ward took a safety. That was a safety, and he got lucky it wasn't called a safety.
That was a safety and 2 intentional grounding.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree with you guys as well. Like, I don't see how they could go in there and look at that and not let it be a safety. Like, all the replays, because I actually came home and I was watching some of those replays after the game. Like, the ball, I don't think ever came back out of the line. Like, he was still on the line of scrimmage or on the goal line itself. And I can't see how they could say that it wasn't a safety.
What did you guys think of the Sean Payton challenging? That man threw the red flag almost every time.
Well, for me, for me itself, like, they have that instant replay that they should be go out there and going through and reviewing it right away.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like sometimes you have to push them. And that's why Sean Payton threw it so many different times, because there's about 2 or 3 times that they picked it up and said, oh yeah, it's the instant replay, so there's not an official review by the team. And I think you just had to push them. And then I also say it's part of week 1. Everyone's still getting into it as well. So that's part of it. But I do feel like you just had to push them a little bit, saying, hey, that should be a replay. That should be good. I have no problem with Sean Payton throwing that. Like, let's just get the game right. Let's get the calls right itself. Yes, it's going to help us. That's why we're throwing it. But you just have to push them at some point. You just have to push it. But going into week 5, week 6, later on to the year, those are going to be just typical routine that everyone's already on top of it. And I just factor that it's week 1 of the season. Everyone's still getting into everything as well. It's the same thing. The Broncos, all the other teams are the same way. The officials are there, the review people, that's what it comes down to itself. But I'm okay with Sean Payton throwing that out there to say, hey, let's take care of this.
Bronco, these are your thoughts.
Honestly, my thoughts, if you watch his replays, you watch the game, Sean Payton's games have been officiated since 2012. You could honestly say there's a little bit bias against Sean Payton all that time. He's had some obvious that we should have won, that New Orleans should have won, that he lost the challenges. I wonder if the NFL didn't talk to him and say, hey, we're done with that. We know Bounty Gate's over. And we apologize. We're going to start calling this right. And maybe he just wanted to test it out. I mean, just the conspiracy theorist to me wants to say that. But we did see Sean Payton get screwed. We did see us get screwed a couple times when it was obvious that we should have won a challenge. And he just wanted, maybe the NFL said something and he wanted to test it out. But I'm always said, if you think you're going to win the challenge, if you think you got the evidence, why not? Just challenge it.
I agree. Although that last challenge that he threw, I feel like he rushed it and he didn't wait to get the feedback from upstairs, because that was an obvious, like, he was going to lose it. So
I guess you can put it both ways, because it could be the upstairs saying, "Hey, you got to challenge that. You can challenge that right away," because they're probably looking at it as well and just buzzing into him saying, "Hey, challenge it, challenge it." Well, they're trying to review it as well at the time, so it's like something like it's a rush thing as well for the review for upstairs to say, "Hey, let's go ahead and review it," or "No, we don't, because we can clearly see it right away." And it's still up in the air. It's week 1. We'll get better. He'll get better at that, and I feel like I was mentioning earlier, we're gonna be all right.
We definitely are. But as we go into this game, gentlemen, against the Colts, again, I do think that they're going to go on in there with their chip on their shoulder, because what they did to Miami was it made me feel good. Okay, first of all. And the reason I say that is because when I was pointing it out to other Miami fans in the chat and social media, guess what they all said, Libre? 70-20.
Oh, yeah.
That's all they said. 70-20 when they saw that I was a Broncos fan. And I said, you know what? Please remember that. I hope you do, because that's the last time the Dolphins were relevant. 70-20. I'm like, remember when your coach was going into the stands and having fans supposedly pick the plays because we were that easy to beat? Fan-freaking-tastic, right? But I'll tell you what, since that game, you guys started to go down and the Broncos started to go back up. So if we played again and you guys couldn't even get past the Colts, what chance do you guys think you have against the Broncos?
I agree. And then just actually, I saw a couple of highlights of that game itself, and Tua's not the same. And that's one thing is, if Miami's going to be anywhere, Tua has to be a lot better quarterback than he is. But again, I feel like he's also right now playing scared. Like he's playing more with his health itself, like in mind as well. And he's not reckless like how he was before. So this team is not going to be the same. So they need to start maybe possibly looking for a new quarterback.
Fire sale, man. I've been hearing that all week. Bronco Tiz.
I mean, you're talking about Tua. He did just get paid, 1 or 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It puts them in the tough position, but they're going to have to pull a weed food off with Russell Wilson. Do they have the brains in that organization to do it? Is the biggest question.
Yeah, that's so true. Is it going to be? Can they pull the trigger on doing that and live with dead cap money for the next several years for that, or are they just that thick-headed saying, you know what, we're already paying them, let's just have a couple more years of suffering?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all about having the right people go and find the right players. I mean, George Payton here has done a great job. That's why we're in the position we are.
Yeah.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to segue us into the second part of, well, not the second part, the third part of our show, which is our favorite part of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the end of regulation, which means it is overtime.
Let's in the world.
For the record, I didn't mean to cut off Libre. I thought I could time it, I swear. But ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time here for this part of the show, this is the part where Libre and I let down our hair figuratively, and we talk about anything that's on our minds that's not collectively football. During the season, though, we do like to make our picks for the upcoming games to see how we do. Libre, last week, I got 12 points. I did 12 points. You had 10 points, and the chat has 13 points. So the chat is ahead of us, Libre, in terms of the picks that they got correct. So
it's week 1. We got 17 more weeks to go.
Also, let me just say that DraftKings is probably going to be funded by me for the next couple of weeks because I did not win any of my parlays, man. I either got to stop.
It's because you picked the Raiders to lose.
Well, as soon as I saw Geno Smith on that opening drive, I was like, "Oh, geez, there goes that pick." Good Lord, the Patriots are in worse shape than I thought. Well, on one hand, they didn't have Gonzalez because he was out with a hamstring, but the way that the Patriots offense was playing, it may have not made much of a difference anyway, to be honest with you. But we're going to give our picks for week 2. Chat, feel free to chime in with your picks as well. If you don't, then you're going to be stuck with what you have, and Libre and I will leapfrog you next week. So, gentlemen, tomorrow we have Thursday night football, and we've got a banger for you guys in store. It is the Washington Commanders at 1-0 versus the Green Bay Packers at 1-0 as well. After what we saw from the Packers, they made my brother's Lions look like they had no business out there. So Micah Parsons, even on the limited snap, was still a threat in that backfield, and it definitely looks like Green Bay are the front runners of the winners of that trade with the Cowboys. So, what say you, Libre?
That was already no question about it. The Packers already won that just in general. Like, I feel like because yes, they gave up 2 first-round picks, but trust me, you guys got a young Micah Parsons still. He still can ball. And he just wanted to get paid by the team that drafted him. And Jerry Jones did the same thing back in the day with Herschel Walker. But guess what? Like, I feel like they're trying to repeat themselves of what they did back then. But because of the way that Jerry Jones is now, it's not going to happen. But Green Bay definitely won that trade, and there's no question about it. You're not going to say here the next couple of years with the players that they're going to select is not going to equal to what Michael Parsons is going to be able to do for you on that defense.
So who is your choice, Libre?
The Green Bay Packers.
Okay. Bronco Tiz, your thoughts?
I got to take Green Bay. I think Mike Parsons is going to be too much for Jaden.
Ooh. And the chat says Green Bay. I got to agree with you guys. What I saw from Washington this week was not as much of a dominant win against the Giants, and the Giants struggled all game. They look as lost as ever. Russell Wilson coming over there did absolutely nothing for that team. So the fact that game wasn't a blowout wasn't anything short of a miracle. But again, it's first week jitters, like Libre said. So I'm not expecting Washington to go backwards, but they're definitely going to play a whole lot better than they did this past week. And they have to if they want to beat Green Bay, because that type of gameplay against a team like Green Bay is not going to fly, especially on the road. Sunday games. The first one, the Browns at 0-1 versus the Ravens at 0-1. I got to tell you, gentlemen, what I saw from the Ravens was just absolutely, it was terrible. And this is exactly, I was talking to one of my coworkers today. That's what happens when you take your foot off the gas pedal, in terms of thinking just because you have a lead that nothing can happen. And the second you take off the gas pedal and you're sure that there's no way that they can come back, then stuff like that happens. King Henry fumbles. The Ravens defense, which they spent a lot of money on, looked absolutely terrible. And they got diced up by Josh Allen and the Bills. So I'm going to pick the Ravens just for the simple fact that the Browns are still not completely at 100%. Their defense made some steps. They almost beat Cincinnati. They should have won the game except for their kicker. But I think that the Ravens are still offensively stacked. They're going to learn from their mistake, and they're going to make it at least I think they're going to make an example out of the Browns.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Ravens. The Ravens have this. This is going to be an easy victory for them.
Bronco Tiz?
So I'm going to go against you guys. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to say Flacco's going to come home and he's going to take out that team that decided to cut him for that kid running back. I'm just joking. But the Browns did win last year in against Baltimore, so I'm going to take them to win this one game as their one surprise game of the year.
Okay, and the Ravens, and the chat says Ravens. So one Brown and Ravens. Jacksonville at 1-0 versus the Bengals at 1-0. Now these are two teams. Jacksonville winning didn't surprise me. I thought they would win by a better margin, with them having Travis Hunter out there. But Carolina just couldn't get out of their own way, man. They were absolutely terrible. If they were any better, they probably could have beaten Jacksonville, but unfortunately they weren't. And I got to tell you guys, what I saw from Cincinnati, it's very, very. If I was a Bengals fan, I'd be concerned because that offense was supposed to be playing like $100 million, and they have to be because that's exactly what they paid Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and their defense barely held their own against the Joe Flacco led offense, and Jamar Chase was pretty much locked up. Anybody who picked them up in fantasy had to be tearing their hair out, man, especially if they lost this past week. But with that said, I think that they're still more stacked than the Jaguars, and Joe Burrow is going to Joe Burrow. So I think that the Bengals are going to win that game.
Where's that game at?
In Cincinnati.
In Cincinnati. All right, Robert, the game's in Cincinnati. I only asked because we had somebody in the chat ask. I'm going to pick the Bengals as well.
Bronco Tiz?
I'm going to take Burrow and the Bengals to take the win. That offense is just too good to continue to struggle.
I wholeheartedly agree. Next, we have the Giants at 0-1 versus the Cowboys at 0-1. What we saw from the Cowboys, there were some promises there if CeeDee Lamb would have captured the ball. I do think that that secondary for the Eagles is definitely they got beat at the point of attack, and it is not the same corners that or showmanship that we saw last year. Losing big play Slay is definitely gonna hurt Philadelphia if they don't clean those up. Adoree Jackson got absolutely cooked by CeeDee Lamb in that first half, and the Cowboys got lucky that they were able to trick Jalen Carter into getting himself expelled. But make no mistake, he's gonna be back. And that Giants O-line is in for a rude awakening. When they play, but not this weekend. The Cowboys defensive line, I don't think they were as dominant as they should have been, just for the simple fact that they didn't have Michael Parsons, and it showed. And Jalen Hurts in that game had a lot of time to throw. Now, Russell Wilson is slated to start this game, but I don't even think that he would make a big dent in terms of beating the Cowboys because the Cowboys offensively, if CeeDee Lamb can catch his passes, they should win this game easily. So I'm going to give it to the Dallas to win their first game.
I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowgirls as well.
You're putting me on the spot. I have to go with Dallas. I don't see a way to New York. I think New York might be the worst team in football at this point.
Worse than the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We've seen what we have with Russ here.
So I have a couple of fans that at work that are Giants fans. And I go, so how's Russell Wilson doing for you guys? And they're already calling for Jackson Dart to start. And they want him to start
Jameis.
they want him to be there by week 3, like by next weekend. And I said, you know what? We'll probably see Jackson Dart probably playing against the Broncos in week 5.
Yeah.
That might be the scenario that we see him then.
I wouldn't put it past
Or
him.
would it be week 6? Something like that, because we go to London and then we come back home to them.
Yeah.
So I think that's week 6.
Next, we have the Bears at 0-1. Going on the road against the Detroit Lions, who are also 0-1. The Bears choked the second half, and I can't tell you how many Bears fans yesterday were absolutely livid, and some of them today completely still were. The Lions, I've never seen my brother so sad in a long, long time. So it's the Ben Johnson revenge game. And I think that the Bears are going to win this game just for the simple fact that they're going to actually learn that they have to play 2 halves exactly the same way and not give it up. And I didn't see, aside from Jahmyr Gibbs, I didn't really see anything from Detroit that tells me that these guys are back. The fact that they extended JMO is really a head scratcher for me because after what we saw this past Sunday, Libre and Bronco Tiz, I don't think that money was worth it. You could have spent that money elsewhere, maybe like on defense or something, but they'll have to be the ones to prove me wrong. But I'm going to say Bears.
I understand that you're there in Chicago and you feel some type of bias with that, but I'm going to be with your brother. We're going to say go Lions. Those Leones.
I got to take the Lions because I think this team too scared to play that bad in front of Dan Campbell 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
From your words to God's mouth. The next one, New England Patriots at 0-1, head on the road to Miami, who is also 0-1. This might be one of those games that's another one unwatchable, like the Cardinals and the Saints last week. Out of those two teams, New England looked like the better team. They put up a better fight against Vegas. The Dolphins got absolutely creamed. And I think that the Patriots are going to win this one. Probably not by a lot, but Drake May and Travion Henderson are probably going to make a nice bounce back, I believe. I wouldn't be surprised if Tyreek Hill is out before the start of this game and gets traded, the way things are looking. And there's a lot of rumors that Tyreek Hill could be on the trading block. So I'm going to say New England.
Give me New England as well.
Let's make it the Patriots.
And it's a clean sweep because chat says it as well.
Patriots, yeah. Next on the docket, we have the San Francisco 49ers at 1-0, heading on the road against the New Orleans Saints, who are 0-1. Now, mind you, Brock Purdy is not going to play this game, and neither is George Kittle. So I'm trying to remember who's the backup for the night. I don't remember, but I don't really think it matters, just for the simple fact that the 49ers still have a better team on paper than the Saints do. Spencer Rattler did a couple of good things, but unless it's all Alvin Kamara and he can really run a train on that defense, I don't see the Saints winning that game. So I'm going to pick the Niners.
So in my paid pick'em league, I did pick the 49ers. But here, I'm actually going to go with the Saints because I think because it is in New Orleans, and I feel like it, just how you say, I think that Alvin Kamara is going to have himself a day, and they're going to end up winning that game.
I got to take the Niners. Mac Jones is the backup for
Mac Jones.
Brock. So if he's stepping in, he definitely wants to prove himself. He wants to earn that second shot.
Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't think of Mac Jones. Next on the docket, we have the Buffalo Bills, who had that marvelous comeback victory. 1-0. They head on the road to visit Justin Fields and the New York Jets, who are at 0-1. I got to give credit to the Jets. They stayed in that game against Pittsburgh. That Pittsburgh defense is tough. They're not easy to beat, but Aaron Rodgers got the last laugh in that one. So that defense is not going to hold up against what Buffalo's bringing, especially on the road. I just don't see it would take a miracle for maybe Justin Fields can try to hang with Josh Allen and them, but at the end of the day, it's if they put up another 40 burger, I don't see the Jets getting that close, at least not in this one, because I believe the Buffalo Bills defense is maybe not as good as what the Steelers had, but division games are tougher, and this is Justin Fields' first game as a Jet and with a divisional opponent, and these two teams know each other. So I'm going to say Bills on this one.
All right. My pick is Jets. Suck. Let's go Bills.
It's got to be Buffalo. I don't see any way the Jets could win that game.
There's no way, yeah. You have the reigning MVP there in Buffalo. He's owned that division for what? How many years have they won it now? Like 6-7 years now that they've won that division. Mm-hmm. So Bills by a landslide. They don't have the Jets do not have the team to even compete with the Bills at this point.
Next, we have the Seattle Seahawks at I'm sorry, Bronco Tiz. I
wasn't saying anything.
Bills.
Oh, okay. Bills. Next, we have the Seattle Seahawks at 0-1 on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers at 1-0. I said this before. Sam Darnold coming to Seattle was not going to be the answer, and we definitely saw that this past weekend against the 49ers, and that was a division game. And I did not see anything from Sam Darnold that looked anything of what he had before, because I said it again. He was coming to Seattle without Justin Jefferson and without Jordan Addison and without DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. That Seattle defense or offense is anything but a shell of what it used to be. They still have Njigma, who's a good wide receiver, but he can't do everything. You know what I'm saying? So I think that the Seahawks are in for a rude awakening. That Steelers defense is really going to welcome them home, and I'm going to say Pittsburgh.
I go with Pittsburgh as well.
I'm going to take Pittsburgh as well.
And so does the chat.
That was almost too easy. Next, we have the Rams, going on the road at 1-0 against the Tennessee Titans at 0-1. I will give Cam Ward his flowers. He did have a couple of plays where I was like, that shouldn't have been allowed. But and it's not his fault that his wide receiver couldn't catch a ball. But again, it does him no favors. The Rams, they have a young team, and those guys, they're that pass rush is vicious, man. And they're gonna get home. I know that Ward has been having nightmares about having to deal with our defensive line, and the Rams are definitely going to have those nightmares keep going. So I'm going to say that the Rams win this one.
I agree with the Rams as well. I don't know if you saw that viral video that went out during the Rams game this last weekend, where this lady, it was a Tennessee. Who was it? Jacksonville. Who did they play?
The Rams. They played the Texans.
The Texans. Okay, it was the Texans fans. Yeah, that's right. So they're in the upper end zone, like in the fifth level or whatever, the upper part of the stadium. The Texans fan, they were all arguing, but then she ended up leaving the stadium with a busted up, bloody ass nose. It was
I saw that.
Crazy, man. I was like, dang.
Yeah, it was nasty.
Rams.
Rams. Okay. I will say before we move on to the next game that Matthew Stafford did not look good. He missed a couple of wide open shots, and Puka Nacua had a great game. But Devontae Adams needs to get added to that mix if they're going to be a lethal offense. Next game up is the Carolina Panthers at 0-1, going on the road to Arizona, who is 1-0. Arizona was another team that did not look all that great offensively. Marvin Harrison Jr. is still looking to be a very good player down the road, and the Cardinals could be a sleeper team if the offense wakes up. But this should be a cakewalk for them. And almost every video I've seen so far about Bryce Young, they're all saying the same thing. Bryce Young is looking like a bust. He really is, because he's going into year 3, and it almost seemed last year he was so, wasn't all that great, but it wasn't terrible either. And this year he looked terrible last week against Jacksonville. So don't be surprised if he ends up getting benched again or just cut or traded or something like that and doesn't finish the season as a Panther, honestly. But I'm going to say Cardinals for this one.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
And the chat says Birds as well.
Bacaro. Next on the docket, we already covered the Broncos. Everybody goes Broncos, of course.
Actually, you have to remember that all Colts grow up to be Broncos.
To be Broncos, yeah.
Just saying.
And then what I'm surprised wasn't Sunday Night Football, but it's definitely the game of the week. The Eagles at 1-0 taking on the Chiefs at 0-1 at Arrowhead. It's the Chiefs home opener. And I got to tell you, while I am concerned about that secondary from the Eagles, what I saw from Kansas City wasn't that good either. Like, yeah, they had a couple of good moments where they exposed, but Patrick Mahomes for most of that game did not look comfortable. And the fact that the Chargers pass rush was making them uncomfortable, and the fact that Jalen Carter is actually coming back and playing for this game, with the exception that he doesn't spit on anybody anymore, he's gonna give that defensive line is gonna give Patrick Mahomes basically another couple of bad memories. And for Mahomes, he doesn't have Joe Thuney on that offensive line anymore. So, if the Chiefs Maybe the Chiefs stay a little bit more, I would say, because that secondary, especially if Adoree Jackson plays. But they don't have Rashee Rice. They don't have Xavier Worthy. And Travis Kelce, while he did finally look like a little bit like the Travis Kelce of old, can't expect him to do that for 4 quarters every single time anymore. So I'm going to say Eagles on this one.
Fly, Eagles, fly. I say the same thing.
I gotta say, a repeat of the Super Bowl, Eagles again in a blowout.
That's my
Eagles.
that's my mood of when I want to go to sleep and sleep like a baby. I watch that Super Bowl again. And then Sunday Night Football, gentlemen, the Falcons at 0-1 going on the road to face the Minnesota Vikings at 1-0. The fact that the Falcons lost because of a Young-Ho kick that missed, it's sad. Michael Penix really had a great game out there, and he helped win me my first fantasy week. So I'm glad that he did, because I felt like when I picked him, I thought it was a reach, but he proved to me that he was definitely worth the pickup. So I do think that it kind of worries me a little bit that they won't have Drake London. I think he got hurt, so I don't know if he'll play. Darnell Mooney, I don't know how he's doing, but if he can get those guys back, then I think that they'll be in a much better place. But this is a game that the Falcons have to win, because they cannot go into week 3 at 0-2. However, that Brian Flores defense came back, and J.J. McCarthy, winning a division game and coming back the way he did is a big deal. So the Vikings, it's their season opener, and I think that they're going to have the momentum going into this one. So I'm going to say Vikings.
Skull.
I gotta say JJ and the Vikings.
Yeah,
So it's a clean sweep with the Vikings as well.
Yeah, and then I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a big fan of the Monday night doubleheaders, because it's kind of hard. It's not like on YouTube, like Sunday Ticket. They don't cover like where you can watch both games at once. They just put the little thing on the corner and it tells you. So unless you have like another monitor to watch it, or you're at a bar, then it's annoying. But I don't know. That's just me.
Hey, I have 2 TVs in my living room. I can watch both games if I want.
So Adan, come on over and we can watch the game all at Tiz's house.
Sure, yep. I'll fly out every Monday night. The Tampa Bay Bucks at 1-0 go on the road against the Houston Texans, who are 0-1. I got to tell you, CJ Stroud does not look comfortable, and I don't know for the life of me why the Texans would trade Laramie Tunsil and make CJ Stroud's job a whole lot worse. Now, what happened with that strip fumble wasn't CJ Stroud's fault, but he has not looked anywhere like he did his first year. Okay. And that to me worries me about the Texans. And I mean, Baker Mayfield, that man played like a man possessed, and he was able to get a win out and beat the Bucks. And I wouldn't put it past him to go out there and get a win this weekend. The only thing I ask is to please feed Mike Evans more this year, because he's on my fantasy team and I need him to put up more points.
How's Baker Mayfield beating the Bucks? Can you explain that to me?
Beating the Texans. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No, because you said that Baker Mayfield beating the Bucks. So
beating the Bucks, yeah.
So I have Baker in one of my fantasy leagues. I'm gonna go with the Tampa Bay, because he's gonna have 3 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns.
Oh, okay. So you said Bucks, Libre?
Yes.
Okay. Bronco Tiz?
Dang, I'm not sure about Baker having that big of a game, but I think he's going to have enough to win. Bucks 28-20.
Okay. And then the last game for us to cover tonight, the Chargers at 1-0 going to Las Vegas for the Raiders home opener, also 1-0. Another game that I wish could end in a tie. I really don't want to pick one. I hope they both lose, and I can't wait until we can finally go play other teams, so that way I don't have to make this choice. But between the two teams, I think Geno Smith didn't look all that comfortable, except for that one miraculous throw he got. But that was the Patriots' defense. The Patriots are the Patriots. The Chargers are going to play them a whole lot tougher. Ashton Genty hopefully has a big game at least against them, because he's on my fantasy team.
We talked about this. Where you selected him number 1 overall on your team.
I pled the 5th on that one. I pled the 5th. I never said what.
Doesn't matter.
How did Jenny do week 1 again?
He had like 15 points. He had a touchdown. So he got his first NFL touchdown, but that was about it. But I think that the Chargers are Justin Herbert. If he can beat the Chiefs, he can definitely, I would say, beat the Raiders. So I'm going to say Chargers. Ugh.
I know, just like Juan said, Primo Juan, he goes Chargers. Ew.
Can I just take the comment?
Sure.
I'm going to take the comment. I'll take the Chargers.
Did you see how he's like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was like, wait, what? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for our overtime segment. I would like to personally thank our special guest, Bronco Tiz, for coming on the show. Bronco Tiz, you are always welcome to come and be on our show, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you sticking around for the overtime segment.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah,
Of course.
And also thank you guys to everybody in the chat. Juan Marquez, the boss was here. D-Rock,
Shy
Vargas, thank you. And I saw Fanatic
Rob.
Jack. Yeah, Rob as
Robert
well.
was in there. Yeah,
Robert Merrick,
Myrick.
who is joining us from the Facebook side. Ladies and gentlemen, before we head out of here, just want to remind you to please show your support for us here on the Orange and Blue Network and our Broncos Talk. Subscribe, share, comment, and like on this and all the shows here on the network. There is something for everybody. For our audio listeners, 5-star reviews are greatly appreciated, regardless of what platform you listen to us on. If you would like to take a screenshot and send it to our socials, they're right there at the bottom. Mine is at 6'10" Mexican on Twitter. Bronco Libre is at Bronco Libre 5280. Shout out to our sponsor, Dubby. If you use the code OBN10, you'll get 10% off on your order at checkout. Again, that code is OBN10 to get your 10% off your order at checkout. Shout out to Dubby for being a continued sponsor on this and all the shows here on the network, and also to our friends over at the Nothing Rhymes With for hooking you, me, and Libre up with the discount. For any business inquiries, you can email at broncostalk2020@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been my pleasure and Libre's pleasure and Bronco Tiz's pleasure to be able to entertain you this evening. I do promise we will have Viva Los Broncos this Friday. I know I said that last week, and I couldn't make it the week before. So you can put that all on me. But I promise you we will be here. For those that don't know, Viva Los Broncos is an all-Spanish podcast. It's literally everything we just did, except in Spanish.
Claro
So,
que sí.
exactly. So please make sure you tell your friends. And if you would like to show your support and have your translator app open, you're more than welcome to join us and relive all of the glory and magic that we had here today. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you tune in for the pregame show on Sunday to hear us talk about everything that's going down in the game against Indy before. And then again, join us for the postgame show right afterwards to get our live reactions. So with that being said, we're going to head on out of here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you all next week. And as always, go Broncos!
Go Broncos!
Go Broncos!
Let's go!
Broncos talk.